Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 297 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. We're going to be hacking on Firefox stuff. We're going to be doing things on Windows with threads and talking to Windows APIs and a background thread. I'm excited. I'm scared. Who knows what's going to happen? Trying to do COM stuff. COM, C-O-M, not C-A-L-M. Trying to do COM stuff. Talking to the component object model inside of Windows off of the main thread. I'm sure it's going to work fine. I'm sure it's going to be great. We're probably going to be doing like C++ promise stuff. That's going to work fine. It's going to be a good time. Let's get started. So, here's the agenda. A reminder, if you've never seen this stream before, if you're joining me for the first time, it's so good to have you here. And no plan survives breakfast. I kind of know what I want to do today. I know I want to work on like this Windows jump list stuff and move things into the background thread, but things might go horribly wrong. You know, I haven't prepared any of this code in advance. I haven't done a whole lot of pre-planning, so we might get sidelined, rabbit hole. You're going to see me struggle. That's okay. That's all part of the game. And, you know, if things go sideways, we'll roll with it. We'll just deal with it. If my stream just falls over all of a sudden, we'll just roll with it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the agenda that we're looking at is available to you. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, do check out the video details section where I've updated the link. If you're on YouTube, check out the video description. Same with diode.zone. Check out the video description. And for the folks who are on Twitch, let me just drop that into the Twitch chat. Agenda, episode 297. I hope you can see that. I saw that the Joy of Coding Bridge bot saw it, so hopefully that got piped through to the Twitch chat. Let me know if you can't see it somehow. I don't know how you would actually, because if you can't see it, it probably means that the bridge is broken. So if I don't see any traffic inside of the Twitch chat in a couple of seconds, I'll assume everything's broken, and then we'll do our best to try and fix it. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I want Yep, I see some traffic from Ocris. Great, thank you. So that bridge is working. I wanted to briefly highlight something that you may or may not have seen traffic about. If you've been if you follow me on Twitter or anything, or you follow the Firefox account on Twitter, there is this thing. There's this website called connect.mozilla.org. The link for which is in the agenda here. Mozilla Connect is where you go. This isn't a support place. Like, I know that it kind of looks like you can like ask questions about like your bugs or something. This is not a support website. This is a website for proposing ideas for how to improve Firefox or change Firefox, or, you know, set the direction for different products. Not just Firefox. I think I've seen some Thunderbird stuff in here, but for the VPN as well. This is where you can go. This is where you should go if you've got an idea, an enhancement request, maybe things that, you know, you've seen something occur and you're like, this would be better if it was more like this, more like X, more like Y, etc., etc. This is where you can go and talk and discuss with not just engineering, because if you'd previously done that in Bugzilla, you'd mainly be talking with engineering. Inside of connect.mozilla.org, you have a higher probability of speaking with product managers, product people, and these are the people who ultimately make final calls on what goes on after feedback from engineering and user experience, etc. They're the ones who set the schedule, and so this is your main interface for talking with the product team, and they will interact with you here. They will lead discussions here. A great example, a recent example, is some changes to the picture-in-picture feature, one of my favorite features. You may have seen me work on it during the stream. There was some recent feedback on various sites that we should supply site-specific wrappers for to make caption support work, and that was all sort of driven, I think, here within connect.mozilla.org. So I highly recommend going here if you've got ideas or you have things that you want to suggest. Connect.mozilla.org, create a free account, and then you can join some discussions and you can submit ideas and whatnot. And like the ideas, it can be like, hey, like this looks like a random set of trending ideas. This one's interesting because we kind of already have this inside of reader mode, this read aloud feature. This was submitted, like I could actually maybe respond to this right now. Please consider read on sites as well as in PDF files like Microsoft Edge. It's a good browser. I go to Edge whenever I want to stay for my exams and read aloud. Firefox also has read aloud, but that we had to switch to reader view and then click to activate read aloud. And to stop, we have to click on the same, which is very annoying. Instead, MS Edge is like, this is a very interesting idea. Look at that, how it ends. I love you, Mozilla Firefox Nightly. That's such a what a great message. So this is an interesting idea. Should we make it possible for, instead of having to enter reader mode, because not every website is readable, but maybe we could have some kind of tool that makes it easier to read out what's on the page, kind of like a screen reader, but more about the text as opposed to the DOM and stuff. That's interesting. So you can submit your own idea. You can participate in discussions. You can, vote up and down ideas. I think it's only voting up. I don't think you can vote down, but you can vote up ideas if you've got ideas that you see in here that you like. So I'm just going to open up a pop. And so that's my pitch. Go to Mozilla, connect.mozilla.org. And this is how you can influence. If you don't want to write patches, maybe you don't have time, or you don't have the skill set, or you don't have the desire to write patches, then another way you can contribute to the project is by submitting your ideas. And I'm sure you've got them. And you might find other people have the same idea, and you can help mold them in this system here. Connect.mozilla.org. All right, that's my pitch. All right. So, Windows jump list. If you recall, last episode, that was back in August 3rd, so a couple of weeks back, we were trying to make, we were working on this bug about private browsing, like permanent private browsing mode. There was user interface confusion. And one of the things we ran into is the fact that we've got this very lazy mechanism for setting what shows up in the Windows jump list. If you're not sure what the jump list is, that's this thing down here. And when you right click on this, all of these items aren't actually supplied directly from Firefox. We're not drawing this. The operating system's Windows 10 is supplying this based on stuff that Firefox writes out into the operating system APIs. There's just a mechanism for us to say okay, add these items, and for each item you supply a command line sort of string. And that's what gets invoked whenever you click on one of these, is a command line gets invoked. So you can't directly attach script handlers to these things. And what was particularly interesting, I've got a mosquito bite. That's what's going on here. I'm why am I itchy down here? Turns out I got a mosquito bite. Sorry, getting distracted. It turns out one of the interesting things is that when you have multiple profiles, they will combine into the same sort of the same icon in the taskbar, and that's because they're the same application, just using different user profiles. I haven't actually checked to see what Chrome does. It wouldn't surprise me if Chrome kind of has the same idea. I don't know if it allows you to have more than one open at a time. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but I would suspect that they. Can I actually test this? Chrome on this machine. If I've got person 1, I'm going to do guest. Oh, that's interesting. They separate it as a separate application. I wonder if maybe that's maybe the one of the smarter things to do. Because I was talking about ways we can, more efficiently write the jump list so that whichever one was last focused is the one that populates here, but having them be as separate applications in the task switcher down here might make more sense. Now I'm just sort of saying that off the top of my head, just it kind of just dropped in there that might be the better choice. I still think it's important performance-wise to make writing this stuff off of the main thread happen, because as I demonstrated last episode, we have this hang stats. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, it's all this stuff. I've got all these add-ons. If you go to hang stats, which is this tool that my colleague Florian built to sort of aggregate and visualize the stacks for frequent hangs that occur on nightly. I think it's just nightly. You'll see that the Windows jump list one is number 4, and it's always been in the top set of hangs, and that's because this does disk I/O on the main thread. And we know this, and there's an associated bug. So I thought we might tackle that today. But now I'm also curious about how we separate task tray items. So I kind of want to do two things today. Let's spend the first couple of minutes. Here's today's agenda. Well, first, let's see what it takes to not coalesce items in the Windows task tray. And so you're going to watch me Google around. You're going to watch me use the search engine and try and figure that out. See if Stack Overflow has some answers. Because ultimately, that might be the most sensible solution. Each profile is mapped to a different spot on the tray. And the other thing we were going to do is we're going to make Windows jump list stuff happen off the main thread. Exciting. This may or may not actually contribute to the permanent private browsing thing we've been looking at. But it's righteous work because of the placement it has in the hang stats list, currently number 4. All right, so let's see if we can figure this out. I'm gonna just see. I have to sort of like remember. You're gonna watch me Google stuff and like this is how I search for things. So on Windows, it's called the task bar, right? Windows task bar. I need to figure out what exactly Microsoft calls it. The task bar. So this is it talking about Windows 11. But yeah, I think they call it the task bar, and that's important. You want to use their terminology when you're searching for this stuff. And I want to know, like, if you're a Win32 application developer, so I start with Win32, that's a good way of getting, like, developer stuff. Win32 task bar coalesce. Here we go. This is, like, developer documentation about the taskbar. The Windows interface includes a special application desktop toolbar called the taskbar. You can use the taskbar for such tasks as switching between open windows and starting new applications. Adding, deleting taskbar icons in the notification area. That's not exactly it. That's more like the task tray, what used to be called a task tray. I think I'm wrong. Am I right about that? Notification icon. Yeah. Taskbar notification area. That's what they used to call the task tray. Right? Tray? Yeah, they've like removed tray, task tray from the verbiage. The taskbar supports 2 display options: auto hide in Windows Vista and earlier on, always on top. Oh yeah, of course. The work area is portion now obscured by the taskbar. Oh, look at all this terminology. It's possible to cover the taskbar by setting the size of a window to the size of the screen with set window pos. Okay. Adding shortcuts to the start menu. That's good. Oh, I wonder if that's a factor here. Like if I pin, let's try this where I pin this and then open guest. Yeah, it still acts as a separate item. Here, let me launch again from there. Guest. Yeah, I think that's the right move. To ensure the window is placed on the taskbar, create an unowned window. To prevent the window button from being placed on the taskbar, create the unowned window using the X tool window as well. Shell will remove the Windows button from the taskbar only if the Windows style system supports visible taskbar buttons. I think how we tell Windows about the window is going to be the key here. Modify formatting, add and activate taskbar buttons. Okay, so like create an unknown window with the X app window style. Force window has a border, sunken edge, composite, context help, control pair. Should take part in dialog box navigation. right. Let me just ensure that I've got this correct. So like if I open a new instance of Firefox nightly right now, let me just do that here from what's program files? What? C program files. Firefox. I probably want nightly. Where's nightly? Where is this thing? I want information about nightly. Where are you hosted? You are in program data. Is that where you put things? Oh, it's a shortcut. And you are under program files nightly. That's what we call it. Okay. And we're gonna say PB mode. I think that was the name of it. We launch the application. Thinks about it for a sec. It has some updates to install. That's going to be a problem for this other instance. And see, yeah, like I've got two different instances, two completely different instances. They're running the same application, but they are two different profiles. That's my default. This is PB mode, but they're being coalesced here in the task tray. It'd be great to not do that. So what powers the coalescing logic? Questions. If you have two users and a guest, if it opens 3 different windows? Good question. Add another one. Let's continue without an account. We're going to call this like user 2. Don't create a desktop shortcut. Oh, interesting. Who's using it? And then look at what they do. They overlay it with a particular icon. I wonder if that's guest. I mean, they weren't doing that before, but I can see that being like a factor in separating, because you obviously, if you have a different icon, you want to like separate it out. But we didn't have that. How do we manage these? I'm going to remove user 2, delete. Then it reruns. Yeah, okay, refreshes the icons. Okay. Okay. That's interesting behavior. Anyways, so how do you tell it? Whenever you create a window, you tell it, if you have a parent, you give it a window name. Windows classic examples. Let's look at some code here. Sure. Windows 7 samples. Why not? Win UI. Shell. I'm just making some guesses here. App shell integration. Jeez. All right, taskbar, thumbnail, toolbar, sure. Okay, when you create an instance of that is like a calm thing, and then you construct an image. When do you create the window? Create the window. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Initialize calm. We're going to create window class, login instance background, menu name, class name, and then title. Some of these I have some questions about because I have a feeling it's going to be how we describe the window to the operating system that's going to cause the overlap to occur or not. What, for example, is SZ title? Is just some string, and then we're saying, hey, give me a string, give me the app title. Okay, load it into this thing. I can't imagine Windows is just using the title to coalesce. That can't be right, especially because the title is going to change. Yeah, the title is changing, so that's not enough. But maybe some of this other stuff, like the class name. What is the SZ window class? Thumbnail toolbar the main window class name. And where is it coming up with this? Like, what is that? What do we normally use? Yeah, we just like make something up. Mozilla battery class, window class. So it looks like that can be any kind of string. I wonder if we can register window class. This window class. Stock application. If you have these things, then we're gonna register windows. Class name hidden dialog, drop shadow, or we get the main window class. The main window class is this. Oh, that's interesting. We can like override it. What is that value? String overrides window class used for normal. Saying this to most will make some trackpad drivers behave better. Hilarious. So what we could try is like, what happens if I update this instance, the PB instance, so that UI window class override, we're gonna call it Mike Conley was here, and then we're gonna shut down and we're gonna start up. And I think there's like a tool, what was that tool that's used to like get information about Visual Studio? Oh, I'm seeing a bunch of traffic. Launching applications from SmurfD. What are we doing with the window class names? What are we doing with window class names? Hey, how's it going, Dr. Goldfire? I'm trying to figure out, just to catch you up, I'm trying to figure out why when we open up multiple instances of Firefox.exe with different profiles, Windows, the taskbar, like coalesces them into the same item here. As opposed to, say, Chrome, for example, where when they have, like, if you open, like, a guest window up or something, like, they will overlap guest windows into the same item. But like a different profile, user profile, even though these are using presumably the same executable, they're not, like a new item is added in the taskbar. And I'm trying to figure out how that works, because I think that might be helpful for this private thing, privacy, always private browsing mode thing I'm working on. Is Chrome overriding the app user model ID? Good question. We can find that out. I seem to remember there being like a tool that would allow you to like do deep dive analyses of like window decorations, class values. Like you just like launch this thing on Windows and then you point it at another window and you say, tell me everything about this window, and it would tell us about it. I just can't remember what that tool was. All right. WinRT, probably not. User model ID. Application model. Where do they define it? First of all, I don't even know what this thing is. App user model ID. Oh yeah, here's some documentation. I like documentation. However, an application that owns multiple processes or an application that's running in a host process might need to explicitly identify itself so that it can group its otherwise disparate windows under a single taskbar button and control the contents of that application's jump list. Woo! Hang on. I think Dr. Goldfire has pointed us in the right direction here. This is exactly what I was looking for. So it must be that Google is overriding this for the guest window or for other types of, like, other profiles. Ooh, shell integration, yeah. Build, aha. Oh, what's this? What's this? String, yeah, build it. Find the maximum number of characters allowed in each component, accounting for the document. Max ID length. So we're making a string. So do we get... components. We like pass it a bunch of stuff. So hold on a second. What would we pass to it? Pass components. You push the that's what it is. You push the profile ID. That's how they're doing it. Okay. Woo! Dr. Goldfire saving the day. So at some point in the whole like Chromium stack, I guess whenever we're creating one of these windows, like the actual operating system native window thing, we construct a unique app user model ID, and this is where we do it. This is where we do it, and I'm gonna put how do I permalink this? Links. Commit. Is this a permalink? That looks like a permalink. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna put that in here. This appears to be how Chromium does it. They're setting a app user model ID per profile. Can we do the same thing? Probably. What do we do with the app user model ID? Woo! There's a lot going on here. What do we do with the app user model ID? This is whenever we're like launching the first browser window. Taskbar. The shell service, we get the get app user model ID. Is that an out param? Yes. What is this? What are you? Get current process explicit app user model ID. Assign ID. If we're using private browsing, then we'll generate one. If marked, use a hash. What the? What? What? We added some kind of capability to like do this grouping that I want to do. When was this added? Jim Matthews added this in 2011. All right, let's see what the heck is going on here. Why wasn't this turned on? Well, first of all, let's see if it works. This is wild. Okay, we are down the rabbit hole, people. Down the rabbit hole. Okay, I'm going to start by updating both this profile and the other one. All right. Let's see what happens now. I'm going to relaunch. Whoops. I'm going to relaunch this profile. Yep. So far, so good. And now, see, that didn't work. Why not? Someone was talking about spy, and I think that's exactly right. I wanted spy. Do I have that? No. And it was called like Spy plus plus or Spy. Yeah. How do I get it? Yep, that's what I want. How do I get it? Oh, I might already have it. So what? Spy tools. Here it is. That's what I was talking about. All right. So we've got our browser windows here. We'll put one here. We'll put the other one over here. We got our spy plus plus here, and if I recall, there's a way that I can like choose a window with like my hand. Was it this one? Properties? No, it's like the picker. Can I just like search, find window? Ah, yeah, here we go. This window. Window. That's its class. Properties. And what was it? App something something ID? Dr. Goldfire says, I don't think this is going to show you the AUM ID. Shoot. All right. Well, let's take a closer look at that source code. Do we know if this is even going to get hit? Get bool profile, grouping use profile. If so, let's do a thing. Let me shut down spy because I guess that's not going to work out. I've got a debug build all ready to go here. I think build with debug. And it's been a while since I've done this on Windows. Mock run debug mode. Is it gonna let me set up? Okay. Does it know what I'm talking about? Okay, can I like set a breakpoint now? Trying to remember how any of this works. Debug. I might actually have to start the program and then I'm going to set a breakpoint in, what was it called? This thing, the static method. We're going to do that. It's never heard of it. Alrighty. Do I need to, is there a namespace? I think Mozilla widget. Okay. So we're gonna Mozilla. No, still never heard of it? Come on. Mozilla widget win task bar. Did I spell that right? Yeah. Come on. What's the dealio? All right. Well, can I normally this would work. Window create. See, you ever heard that one? Have you ever heard of this window, this window? You know what? I think I know exactly what's going wrong here, which is that we may have attached, I think I've run into this problem before. I think we've attached to the launcher process. And we should have probably disabled the launcher process. I actually think I've done this, like on this stream, I've run into this problem. Yeah, that's the wrong process. We're attached to the wrong process. No wonder. All right, so let's attach to an existing one. What was that ID? Oh, it's gone away. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to disable the launcher process. And there's a way I can do that with, it looks like command line, no set config launcher context. There's got to be a way I can disable it in here. This looks like there's a pref. And is there something I can pass to? Mock run? If not, I'll just defines wait for browser. Command context defines. Okay, we're gonna just set this pref. That just seems easier. So shut her down. This is worth it, people. Let's see here. Debug set pref. Come on, what was it? Browser launcher process enabled. I think this will work. Hilarious. All right, so let's not use set pref. Maybe we can still do this. No, we can't because we flipped the task thing inside that profile. So what was the preference for that? It was taskbar grouping. I'm curious about why this was never set to true. There might be a good reason. Yeah, and then there's like this dupe. Okay, so start. Breakpoint. What was it? It was Mozilla widget generate. And presumably I can hit that again. Still hasn't heard about it. Unbelievable. I think we're still in the wrong process. I think setting that pref didn't help. All right, we're gonna do something different then. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna attach to a running instance of the browser. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I'm not upset. Yeah. Oh, Dr. Goldfire says I have to set the pref and then restart. Oh, yeah, probably. Oh, I get it because he. Yeah, okay. You have to write a thing. Well, I'm just going to attach to a running instance of the browser. Why did I open it with -- debug again? That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to say just run. Just run. And then in this existing instance of Visual Studio, we're going to attach. So what's our process ID? You're getting to watch all the warts and all. And me flailing about. And if it wasn't for Dr. Goldfire and Okris and Emilio and everyone in the chat and Smurf D, I'd be probably still going through the agenda. So thank you all for your help so far. All right, let's get ourselves a process ID. It's not real debugging without yak shaving. You're right. We are. This yak is getting shaved. Process ID. We'll get to that thread stuff in a second. 22408. 22408. There it is. There you are. Okay. Now we're going to set our breakpoint on Mozilla widget. Okay, what was it? That. Have you heard of that? Yes, you have. Very good. Okay, so now I'm going to say sayonara. Create a new window. So we didn't even hit that code path at all. So that might explain why it's not working. Let's see. Who calls into this? That's why. Because private browsing auto start's enabled. So let's temporarily disable private browsing auto start. We might need to revisit this decision. Might need to figure out what's going on here. But let us go back over here and disable permanent private browsing mode just to see where we got. Oh, PB. Isn't there a... Where is it? Maybe it was over here. It's a debug build, so it's slow AF. Privacy and security. Come on. Private browsing mode. Okay, so how do I say I'm not? Okay, get rid of that. So restart nightly. So now, and we're going to stop debugging. Now I do expect it to attach to a different like if I launch a different profile using the same executable. What's going wrong here? Get it together, debug build. What you doing? All right, there we go. I expect to hit that code path now. Let's see if we can find that window or that process. Hello? Settings. It's probably... Screw it. Let's just get the process ID. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want to find out if the window's private. I wanted the... Oh, you know what it is. I'll bet the console stuff isn't persisted in permanent private browsing mode, which makes sense. 24016. 24016. All right. We are going to get to that off main thread stuff in a second. Trust me. I'm not, this is not a bait and switch. I'm not trying to fool you. Well, we still didn't hit that code path. So I'm very curious about why now. So we're going to set a different breakpoint. We're going to set a breakpoint here inside of the constructor of the window, NS window create. And we're just going to walk through and see what's going wrong. Okay. So let's create a window. Whoop. I actually don't think this is the... I'm gonna close the console. Okay, I'm gonna hit Command N now. There we go. Right? Right? I hit continue and see what happens. I'm like hitting it a lot. All right, fair enough. I'm there. I've got what I want. So, main thread. It's a top window. Is it? Yep. Get the toolkit. Always on top. Are you a pip window? Are you invisible? Wants to know. Get the class name. We're going to create that window. I really want to get down here to the generate app model thing. Oh, I see. So we skip right over this generate app user model ID. We didn't do it at all because it's not a private browsing window. All right. Sounds like I got some homework to do. I need to reach out to the Windows folk. And it turns out we've got a mechanism to do this already. It got added back in such and such a bug. Back in bug, was it 577.867? But it appears to only work for private browsing windows. Let's actually test that out just to make sure I'm right. So we're gonna disable our breakpoints here and continue. And let's see if we can create a new private browsing window. So see, it's grouping all our windows here. We've got a couple, and now I'm gonna create a new private browsing one. Is it going to put it in a different icon? No. The answer is no. Why not? Why not? Okay, so let's go back down to here. Should be a private browsing window. Right here. Continue to there. Continue, yeah. Okay, we hit there. It is a private browsing window. If privacy segmentation window separation enabled is false. Okay, so there's like some kind of existing work I think that is underway here. I think I'm getting into a zone that other people are already kind of looking at. So I'm gonna actually go back to what I originally wanted to do in this whole episode, which is let's just talk about off main thread jump list updating. And I'm gonna go talk to some of the gang doing like private window stuff and figure out what the heck's going on here, because it feels like there's like some efforts and intentional choices underway on or like that have been made about this stuff. So I'm gonna go talk to them, and I'll hopefully have news next week about that. So M. Conley to figure out, to talk to privacy and security team to figure out what's going on with the app. What was it? What did you call it? An app user app. Hang on, I saw it there. It's the AUMID stuff. Okay, so let's not get super distracted from what our original task was, which was let's see if we can make that Windows jump list stuff happen off of the main thread. Now recall when we were looking at it before, the stack that we got for the hangs Yeah, let's pull that up real quick. The stack that we got for the hangs was like, when we call method jump list abort list build. That's interesting. Abort list build. Let's open up Bugzilla. This represents 1% of the total hang time between 500 milliseconds and 1 second. Many main thread IO calls caused by set path and some more caused by obtain cached icon file calling and its local file exists. And that's from Florian from a couple years back. Here we're invoking it from abort list build from Windows jump lists line 621. Let's take a quick peek. Here, I've got my editor here. Windows jump lists abort list build. So any kind of like, if we were request to update the list while another update was in progress, this could happen at shutdown, idle, or private browsing. Abort the current list building, and then we'll like synchronously do that. But also start build, like any sort of like builder stuff. I think the builder is. What is builder? There's like a builder class that wraps something else that's a builder, which I think is the underlying like XPCOM component. Builder is create jump list builder from the taskbar service, and the taskbar service. What's that? Taskbar service. Is this thing Windows taskbar? NSI Win taskbar. NSI Win taskbar. Window preview, get taskbar progress, and there's a thing probably called a jump list builder. Create a jump list builder. How's that work? Create jump list builder. It will create an XPCOM instance. We're gonna generate. Oh, we get to see you again. We generate the app user model ID and we pass it to the builder, presumably because that's how it maps to the slot in the task tray. Makes sense. And then the builder itself is an NSI jump list builder. And I think we had looked at this last week where various operations here are synchronous. This one is not. Here we're doing, we're at least returning a promise. So we have the potential to do asynchronous things here and off main thread things here. That's nice. But some of these things are synchronous, like this one. I mean, that one just, I guess that's got to be synchronous. Presumably, if we want to do something about a failed abort, we might need to return a promise there that rejects or something. Commits the current jump list. Commit. That to me is like another stab at making this kind of asynchronous where you like add and then commit. But as I recall, even though add list to build and commit is where some off main thread stuff is happening, add list to build was already doing some main thread stuff. So let's look that up next. Jump list builder. Add item. What was it? Add list to build. Add list to build. This is all coming back to me. So Celine Dion. Take a lock. See, I feel like this should, especially because list items. It's just an array. I seem to recall, like, what was it? It was like there was something in here that was doing it, like get shell link was doing it. I seem to recall this, even though you pass a thread into it, jump list shortcut, get shell link. Where are you? Pass in an IO thread. What are we doing with it? We obtain a file. This looks synchronous to me. Yeah, okay. Cache icon file from favicon URI. If the last module is old, then recache this. Check. That will be available as long as I say obtain async from the favicon server. So the next time we try and build a jump list, it's available. Oh, I see. So there's like kind of like a, we're going to do our best effort. We've cached it. If we made a request for it before, we'll cache it. And then if it's available from a previous cache, asynchronous cache, then we'll return it synchronously. That's my read on that. So that's how that works. And that looks like it may have been from like what was that method called? Get shell link. Get shell link. Before, what we were doing was just straight getting that icon. I guess we weren't even getting the fav icon. We were just like getting some generic icon. Okay. And at some point we added, it's weird that that happened from like a format. I don't believe you, Search Fox. That's where this got introduced. Okay, so it's a little bit of a mess. And the read I'm having on this is this was always synchronous, and then there have been multiple stabs, like synchronous and on the main thread, and there have been multiple stabs to try and make this stuff happen off of the main thread. But, you know, you're kind of dealing with a bunch of legacy code that might behave, like rely on the synchronous APIs. The structure of the interface might rely on it. And so it's not, the job was not completed to make this all asynchronous. Plus, you know, writing writing concurrent C++ is tricky. It's dangerous. It's hard to get it right, even for the best of us. So I don't begrudge the previous efforts here. You know, someone gave it a shot, and we're gonna give it another shot. So let's figure out how we want to break this down. I mean, it kind of makes sense to do most of this either on the IO thread or ideally on the background thread, this whole jump list creation stuff. I feel like the IO thread might already be like, I don't want to add more traffic to it if we don't need to. We have background threads, like sort of lower priority background threads available to us that we should be using for stuff like this. What is the return value supposed to be? Is true or false? what do we do with this? Ret val. If we succeeded in constructing stuff, build the list. So like if category tasks, we create an instance of a thing, we build the list for each item, we query it for a jump list item, we check for a separator, and if we find a shell link, we're going to create a shell link, which may or may not give us like a fav icon from the cache, we don't know. And then if link collection, if we failed to do that, then we're done. And then we're going to add that to our collection. Collection is an object collection, so we're constructing some stuff. So far, none of this is adding too much IO, unless creating one of these things causes IO. Wasn't there like a different stack last week where we saw hang on, jump list. It's more than just abort list build though, right? Previous day. Let's look at some previous stuff. Yeah, this is what I remember. It was more like this. Com base, object still by like we run some kind of modal loop inside of com to something something Windows. Okay. Okay, so I think I have a goal here. I want to make add list to build do most of its work off of the main thread. We'll start with that. That's the first step. I don't even know if we can do that in isolation though. Like how does the commit stuff work? Like when you commit, I presume this is like part 1 and then you commit or you abort. Both of them have to do with a jump list manager, I think. Yeah. Jump list manager. You tell it, hey, abort. Now, when you commit, you dispatch to the IO thread this method, hey, we're done here. Do commit list build. And what that does is off of the main thread, it will get at the jump list manager and call commit list on it. Yeah, and it takes a log. Okay, that's why. Okay, so the fact that the, like when else do we use this jump list manager? Who else is using this? So we use it in build, abort, do, commit, delete active list, MTA, entrant monitors across different threads. Must be an agile reference across different apartments. I wonder if that's what MTA stands for. Apartment. So those are, and then app user model ID, we get access to it. We call into that. Get the maximum number of items. And we'll return the maximum number of items, and then we abort that. And one of the things we know is that abort our friend Bort, get one of those license plates. Abort list also does IO. Like, well, here what's happening is we're taking a lock. So like we risk contention here because like by trying to get access to that lock that like what this other thread might have, we're gonna wait for that lock to be released, and then we're blocking the main thread again. So I feel like anytime we're taking a lock, we run the risk of hitting this problem. So what we really want to do is really only interact with the jump list manager off of the main thread. That would be best. Can we? So that is my next question. So goal. This is a different goal. I want the. This is maybe more a stronger goal. I want the jump list manager to only ever be accessed off of the main thread, so that the parent, the main parent, or the main thread in the parent process never has to get a lock. So let's think about how we could do that. I think part of it's going to be we're going to need to change a lot of the interface in here, because like some of this information is only available, like this is a synchronous access, and I wonder if we can do better. Max list items, is that, first of all, is that even used? Who uses that? Max list items. It's not even used, people. We might be able to like clean this up by max, where is it? Jump list, max item count, where's that come from? I think it actually just comes from prefs. Yeah, we get it. We pull it from prefs. Max list item count 7. We just like hard code that in there. So like that's the first thing we can do is we can get rid of. Let's put together a shopping list. Hang on. Right. How do I add a checkbox? There we go. I want to get rid of, what was that surface called? We can get rid of max list items. That's easy, since it doesn't appear to be used. That simplifies things. What else? What else can we get rid of? What's available? What's available? The heck? Get. Oh, sorry, I just saw it. Get available. We get a lock on it, and then we just see whether or not it's around. Because presumably could this ever get destroyed after it's constructed? On shutdown, we clear it. Otherwise, I guess if we have not yet if we've not done this, we've not executed this part yet, or we failed to execute this, then I guess this could be fault. Why will we need to take a lock here? I guess there's a race condition. Interesting. There was a crash. A swing of those crashes. Adding the lock. The only possible race is the lazy idle thread. When it is using mjump list, the ref count will never be 0. So originally, we had to take the lock because something might have cleared this thing back in the day. Okay. So who checks to see whether or not this thing's available? Does anyone actually use available? Builder available. Okay. So the next step is we're going to make available async. What's next? We're going to do the same thing. What's the next method? We're just going to kind of catalog these things. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong browser. I'm getting confused. We don't need max list items. Is list committed? Who uses that? Nobody. We can get rid of it. Nobody. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Get rid of is list committed. It's not important. That's already async. That's nice. We're going to want add list to build. Make add list to build async. Return a promise. Now, no one ever does anything with the abort list build. Like, who's calling this? Abort list build. Is anyone doing anything? There's no like return value that anything's. It's just like calling it. So, I mean, we could return a promise there. Theoretically, could make abort list build return a promise, except nobody is doing anything with the return value, so maybe it's fine. But we should have this work occur off of the main thread. That might be pretty straightforward. Commit list build. We could like make commit list build return a promise instead of using that old callback mechanism. That might be nice. Delete active list. Make presumably that is active list. Is anyone using that? Delete active list. Yes, it's being used. That should probably also make delete active list return promise. And then what about set app user model ID? Make set app user model ID. Now no one does anything with the return value of that either. So we just make that happen off of the main thread. That's on the jump list builder. So builder, oh, someone. Okay. Just queue that for the thread, the background thread. That's probably fine. I'm curious about why this is even exposed on the XPCOM interface. I guess it was just from back in the day, but nothing from JavaScript seems to call it. Okay. Make set app user model ID async. Like do its work off of the main thread. So I think in terms of like easiest work, I like to do the easy work first and have that be like I'll do it in a series of patches so we can get rid of things. That's easy. And then these promise things are going to be the harder ones. I think these ones delete active list. Remind me again, was anyone using that? Delete active list. Yeah, it was returning a value. So these I think would be the next easiest, which is these things that just need to dispatch their work off of the main thread. And then these things are next, which is like, hey, now we want return value, so you have to return a promise. So that's how I plan on attacking it. Wow, that's taken us a long time to sort of like come up with a plan, but I think we're onto something. So let's start with getting rid of max list items. Get rid of max list items. Shut everything down. Don't need you, don't need you. Unpin you, don't need you. All right, so max list items in here. Get rid of the definition there. And then we're just gonna bloop and gadoop. Don't need that. Whoops. Easy. And then what was the other one? Is list committed? That's the one place. Get is list committed. So that should build, presumably. And just to, I want to double check that max list items and is list committed aren't being used anywhere. No. It looks like no. It's a no for both. So I think we can call that done, presuming this builds okay. Let it do its thing. And we can move on. Let's assume that works okay. Let's do this next thing. So abort list build or set. I'm going to do this this one first. Set app user model ID. Let's do that one next. So yeah, right here. So normally what it does is like, hey, okay, I'm going to take a lock and then I'm going to call, I'm going to take this string and I'm going to call such and such on it. It looks like it can throw if we don't have access to the jump list manager. So maybe it turns out we do want to reject a promise if this fails. Oof. Okay, so that make return a promise. So I'm gonna put that here, and then abort list build. Abort list build. I see. This can also, yeah. All right. Fair enough. So all of these need to return promises. Make abort list build return a promise, since it can reject. But those are pretty straightforward. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna update the interface. We're gonna make. Oh, and then what about available? Did we decide what to do about available? Make available return a promise. Maybe we should start with that. Get available. That's just making sure that the mjumplist manager is around. Confused about when this would not be around. I guess, like, why would we need to take a lock? When would this have gone away? I guess if this doesn't happen, it looks like this is expected to happen synchronously. So I don't understand why. Also, where is this IO thread? Like, we're creating our own special thread for this with manual shutdown. I don't know if we want our own special thread for this. We might just want to use the background thread so that we can have a managed thread pool. Like, Chris Wright has been working hard on getting our thread story under control. I think creating a thread like this is maybe this is an opportunity to not do that. Well, I don't mind. Let's make this let's say indicates whether John is part of the current host. We're gonna say promise is available. And yeah, implicit JS context. We presume. So this is how this works, is we get handed a pointer for a promise. What I want to do store copy pass by reference. You pass the promise into it and you call. I see. Okay, that's what we want to do. We basically want to do a lot of this stuff. going to do is we're going to say, okay, I think you can you do just like a lambda, new runnable function? It'd be helpful if we could just do a lambda. I've done one of these before. Page icon protocol handler. We did this recently. Lambda. Runnable. Dispatch. Come on. I definitely did like lambda stuff in here. Yeah. Chaining promises. These are C++ promises, not DOM promises. That's the problem. Oof. Okay. Fine. But are you sure no one ever does like new runnable? Does anyone ever pass a lambda? Is that ever done? It'd be nice to not have to. I guess not. All right, fine. New runnable method it is. So we're going to say get available. Say do get available. We're going to dispatch that on our IO thread. And then void jump list builder do get available. And what is this? How do they do it? You get a ref pointer that got moved to you. And then what do they do with it? They just call like oh, here we're doing like a lambda. That's interesting. NS new runnable function. Let's dispatch to. Can we? Let's dispatch to current thread. I want to dispatch to a different thread. Dispatch to. How's it doing? Yes, dispatch to main thread. NS new runnable function. Dispatch to main thread. Let's dispatch background task. See, this is what I really want to be doing. Is I want to use the background thread. I want to move everything to this. That'd be really nice. And maybe that's where I should start. Like, I know I already got some of this done, but like, maybe I should be moving us all of the stuff to use in the background. You know what? One thing at a time. We'll clean it up in a second. So let's make get available work. Do get available. So the way that works is we're just gonna like check to see whether or not such and such exists. We're gonna dispatch to the main thread. I see. Resolve or reject. And for now, I guess we need to get our lock. For now, we're going to remove these locks once the jump list manager is no longer accessed from the main thread. Okay, and we're gonna say do get available resolve. And we're gonna move. All right, how are we gonna do this? We're gonna say that's if things have gone wrong. Otherwise, we're going to solve with URIs to remove. We're gonna move that thing. So really, all we want is like, hey, does this thing exist? The jump list manager. And what were we doing before? Like jump list manager. It's like really just if it's around, if the pointer exists and is non-null. Okay. Do get available. So we're gonna say bool is available equals m jump list manager. We're gonna do that coercion, and then we're gonna say okay, pass is available along. How did just always have to remember how you do these, like standard move. Now it's a primitive, so I actually don't know if I need to do any special move stuff. I think I can just say like maybe resolve. Resolve. Okay, and then in jump list builder .h we need to add our method. I always like to put these in roughly the same order. So it's before, it's after get available, but before init list build. Void do get available pointer dom. Okay, I'm gonna move this. Put that there. Okay, build. And then let's spawn an instance. Let's run an instance and see if we can confirm that we get a true value. Oh, typo. Line 62 of this. Of this. This. So yeah, we're gonna do this in multiple waves. We're gonna like, we did that, we're gonna do all of these, and we're gonna migrate off of dedicated lazy thread to background thread pool. I think that's actually going to end up cleaning a lot of the stuff up. I'm going to probably stop in the next 5 minutes. I just wanted to check no viable conversion from, I don't know, we want me to, I see. You don't like my coercion. Fair enough. Get is available. Do get available. It's like if jump list manager is available equals true. Now I could like cast. Maybe my reviewer will just be like, hey, just coerce, but that's fine. They can do that. So what just happened here? I'm basically saying, hey, whenever someone calls get available, let's do all of this work to construct a promise, a DOM promise, and then we're going to dispatch a runnable onto the IO thread, which is the background thread that all of Jumpless Builder uses, and we're going to say, okay, call do get available on it, and do get available is going to take a lock, and then check to see whether or not mJumpListManager exists, and if so, it will dispatch a runnable function to the main thread saying, yes, resolve that promise with the is available value. Out of line definition does not match. Get available. Oh, right. Is available. It shouldn't be get is available. It should be is available. Whoops. That's what I called it. And this should be do get. No, sorry. Is available. Just to be consistent. Do is available. Here, do is available. All right, build. Right, still doesn't like it because I still have a reference to do get available in here on line 217. Right, this should be do is available. Naming. Naming is hard. Okay, build. What's the next one that I was hoping to do after available? Is abort list build. Maybe we can do that one too. And I'm just realizing right now that I should have committed the removal of those other functions. So we're going to do that before we close out here. And you can watch me sort of like do two, like I'm going to do commit interactive so I can pick and choose. Smurfd says, hey, program idea. Look in a code directory for names and split out different variable names and function names for you to use. Oh, good. Yeah, to reuse. Yeah, that's interesting. It's an interesting idea. Thank you, Smurfd. Like that winky face. All right, here we go. What we're going to do is I'm going to call into the builder. I'm going to construct a jump list builder directly. Here's what I'll do. Define taskbar service. Okay. So NSI Win taskbar. get ourselves a console. Let TBS equal CC this thing. Get service CI NSI Win Task Bar. TBS. There it is. Let builder equals TBS. What was it? Taskbar service. Create jump list builder. False. Okay. Builder. Create. Did I spell that wrong? Jump, maybe capital L. It's a debug build, so things are uber slow. Can't redeclare builder like that. Okay. Okay, got it. So builder dot available, or is available is what it was. We renamed it to. It's a function. It returns a promise, and it is fulfilled. Amazing. So like I can await it probably. Like await. But yeah, there it is. So we got ourselves is available now, working off of the main thread. It's holding a lock, but if we can get everything that touches that thing off of the main thread and onto that IO thread, we can remove our locks, and then we can transition everything over to using a background thread, and I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. I realize I ate a bunch of today's episode trying to figure out and getting a lot of help with the app media user ID thing from Dr. Goldfire and everyone in the chat, so I appreciate your patience. But we've got a plan together now on how we can migrate the rest of the stuff over and get off of the main thread, so I think that's pretty great. Let's commit what we've got using commit interactive. Oh, seriously? Yes. Record change? No, not that one. Yes, those ones. Yes, jump list builder. We're gonna get list. Oh man. What? Help. Yes, edit, skip remain changes, record all changes, quit, record no changes, display all, edit this change manually. So I just want to get rid of that and get rid of that. What a pain in the butt. Normally I use like this curses interface to do oh jeez. All right, well, I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'll probably end up reverting some stuff into doing 2 individual commits. I'd love it if the I thought I had commit interactive working with curses on Windows. Hang on. Mercurial curses. Hist edit pip install Windows curses. Yeah, like I thought I had that. Oh wait, pip 3 install Windows curses. Okay, now can I do commit interactive? Come on. Mercurial commit interactive Windows curses. No answer. Well, I might have to do this by hand. What a pain in the butt. Do I need to restart the terminal for curses to start working? Maybe. Let's try. And also, is there anything in here about curses? Oh, okay. Shoot. All right, we'll have to look into it. Commit interactive. I'd like to know more. Like, color, curse, no. Mode profile. I'm gonna have to dig into this. I've never tried to do this, or I haven't recently tried to do this on Windows, so that's why I'm having some difficulty. But I will commit that stuff later. I have to go. I have a meeting I need to prepare for. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode whatever this was of The Joy of Coding. I think it was 297 of The Joy of Coding. We started to make a little bit of headway here. We got sidetracked a little bit. I got to figure out how to get the curses interface for Mercurial working inside of my shell, so I can do a better job of commit interactive stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Next week, stick around. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna try and get through more of this list. Now that there's a pretty sort of boilerplate pattern of doing it, I think we're gonna blast through most of this. We'll probably have the most difficulty for the things that end up doing like XPCOM-y business. We might have to dig into that a little bit, and then remove locks and monitors, and then once we get down here, we're smooth sailing. Oh, and then I also have to update all of the callers of the above methods in Jump List Builder. So we'll do that. Yeah, very close to episode 300. If you have ideas on things I should do, I kind of have a sense of what I want to do for episode 300, but if you have ideas on things I should do, send them in to the Rate This Episode form. That's a great way of letting me know what you think about the stream or ideas you might have on how to improve things. I read everything that comes in. I'm going to put the link in the chat for people who are on Twitch chat and want to follow the link. You just read, just fill it all out. I read everything that comes in. And thanks again for watching episode 297 of The Joy of Coding. I hope that was interesting. I'll see you next week. We're going to try and get through more of this list unless something else more important comes up. All right. With that, I will bid you adieu. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.